So in this tutorial, we particularly use JavaScript recursive fashion. So practically we will use it for kind of like use for kind of like creating like this kind of subfolder clicking. So every single click we will see inner subfolders. So this is very simple. I hope everyone understand really easily, and also I mainly targeted for every single beginner. So for this, we will create some fashions. We will write some JavaScript codes. So this is right here. So firstly, I already write the HTML. So the main thing is that we have to write JavaScript codes by ourselves. So let's run this code. We open like server. So currently we don't have any subfolder or any root folder. So through washing this one, through checking and through imitating this one, we will create. So the first thing we will have three subfolders. This down documents and downloads and music. So before we start to write some codes, we create JavaScript code. So the first I will get that in. So you can get the name as you want. So I will connect with the JS file right here with the script tab. So we will use src attribute. So head.js. Okay. So for this program, I already prepared some algorithms. So this is 4 steps. These are 4 steps. So throughout the program, throughout this mini project, we will use the 4 step to finish the whole program. So we can read the first step. So the first step is we will create the floated structure. That is an array of objects. So each array object is kind of floater. It represents a floater. So each floater object contains name property and subfloater property. It means if a root floater, if it has the subfloater, we will create an array of subfloater objects. So the first step we create an array of object. So how are we gonna create array of object? So we create right here. So we get array of object. So I get the name of floater structure. I will get the name floater structure. Okay, so I get the name for the structure. So within that array we create 3 objects. These 3 objects, 3 root floater. So I will create like this. So within the object we have name property. The first thing is these documents, right? And the second thing is downloads. The third thing is music. So the first thing is documents. Okay. And the second thing is download. Okay. The third one is music. Okay, yes, I see music. Alright. So we create three root folders and then we check subfolder. So here inside the documents we have 2 subfolder, work and personal. So for that we will rewrite like this subfolder. So this is gonna be also array object. So within that array object we have 3 subfolders. We will have 2 subfolders, work and personal. So I will get the name again, work, and the next object is gonna be personal. Okay, that's it. So and then we click personal. It has also produce subfolder. So I give it next subfolder, then so that's gonna be subfolders. This is the object, this is the array object. So like this. So within that object we have next personal folder. Okay. So we check downloads. Downloads only have projects. So we will create subfolder. So in the subfolder array, we only have, sorry, here is the object. We only have projects. Okay, and also we will check for music. So music also has subfolder. These three subfolder: dream, pop, jazz, hip hop. So this is three subfolder. So this is three subfolders. I will create array. So within that array, we have three small objects, right? Subfolder objects. Okay. So for the object, the first object is the first object drain pot. So the name is the rain pork. Okay, the second one is the name is jazz. The last one is name is hip hop. So this hip hop. Okay. So we create folder structure. This is the first step. So we will check the second step. So we will check the second step. When we check the second step, we will create a function. We create a function. So that function name is folder list. Okay, I will create that function. So I will create right here. So this is the function. So we will use const keyword. So the first time we will don't pass this parameter. Okay, we will use simply create function. Okay. So after declaring function, we have to call that function. So create floater list. I will call that. So when we call that function, we will pass this floater structure array object as an argument. So we pass that floater structure array object right here. Okay. So I will pass that. So when we pass an argument, we will have to receive the argument within the parameter. So I will give that the parameter name folder. So here you can give any parameter name, doesn't matter. So this folder is an array. This folder is an array, right? So array, that's why we can. So okay, we will check the argument again. So we create a function. So within the function, firstly we initialize an empty URL element. So, okay, so we create that element right here. So current URL element I will create. So for creating element, we use DOM document doors create element. So the name. So what kind of element is this URL element? Okay. So and then we check again. So we iterate over each folder object in the provided folders array. So here is provided folder arrays. So we will get this folder arrays. So for that array, we will iterate. So how we're gonna iterate? So we use for each method. So we will use for each method. So here we call the function. We also call the recursive function. So right here, okay. So we will iterate for each folder. That's why I will write here folder. So during iterating, what we had to do. So here we will have to create align element. So we will create the align element right here, and then we will get inner text value for that align element, right? Okay. So and then we will have to get the class name folder for that. Okay, I will explain that one the name very soon. Okay, it's the first time we will create align element right here, document doc create element equal to align. So for the aligned element, we had to get a task content, or we had to test content. What are we gonna get? So we had to get the folder's name. So during iterating, so we are iterating this folder array object. So when we iterating for this folder array object, we will iterate for each folder. So we will get a name property. We will get the first time, at the first time we get these three name properties. So for the name properties, we will get align element test content. So we will assign the align test content this property. Oh, sorry, this folder name property. Okay, folder dot name. So to be sure, we can check console.log li element dot test content. So we can check right here. So we can check console. So we got documents, downloads, and uses. So okay, now it's okay. So we see algorithm again. So here, why we have to get a class folder to that align element? Because you see currently in the sample folder we see folder icon. So for the folder icon, I already write some code in CSS. So that's why we will need to get the folder. So okay, we will get the folder name. So li element dot class list dot add. I will get that folder. Okay, so right here now we don't have any folder. So for that thing, and the first time, so after we create align element for root folder, so we will append a UL element. So we will append shine as an append shine. We will append align element. Okay, so for this fashion, it will have to return this UI element, because fashion, we already call the fashion, but it has no value. It doesn't return any value. So that's why we have to return UL element. So when we call the fashion, we will get a value. That value is this UL element, right? When we call this fashion, we will get this value. So that's why that value we will assign into a parameter. So I will get a folder list. So right here, so we will get a folder list. So I will check for folder list console.log with console.log folder list. So let me check again. So console.log. So we got a UL elements. So right here, so for the UL element, we will key further append. So how we gonna use key further append? So for that, so for this HT element, we will go back. So we will have to append this element within this element. So div element. So I call right here. So document dot get element by ID. So we use this. So during that element, we will append above folder list. So we use append chain or append, it doesn't matter. So right here, so we use folder list. So folder list, so we can see, now we can see the root folder in the page, right? Okay, but there is no any subfolder inside those root folders. So for the subfolders, we had to check again. So during running the program, so we had to check. So within a fashion, we check that. So for that, we check with if statements. If folder or subfolders. Okay. So if folder or subfolder, if root folder has subfolders, we call this fashion above fashion, this fashion again. So that's why this call we will call this recursive fashion, right? So we call this, okay, so we call this fashion. So during this time, we will not parse our root folder. We had to parse this subfolder. So that's why we will have to parse within the parent folder of subfolder. Okay, so this also return UL element, right? So but this one is for sub UL element. So we will get a value, that one is the subfolder. So to make sure, we will check again, we console.log sub UL element. So right here we will check again. So we will check inspect console.log. So here is the import, here is the project, this is work prisoner, right? Okay, now okay, so but currently when we check again, so we will have to append this element also. So we're gonna have to append, so we have to append li element dot append chain. So we had to append that subfolder element, right? Sub-UL element, sub-UL element. So when we append, we got all subfolder, right? But this is what we want to do. When we want to make appear subfolders when we click root folders. So for that, so the initial state has to be subfolder dot style of display has to be new. So we need to hide. So only when we click this root folder, it will have to be appear, right? So for that, we will get the style of display equal to new. So this time we will click align element at even listener when we click. So when we click, this is even. So that's why we use add even listener. So when we click even, so we will call it fashion. That is called a fashion. We also call it arrows fashion, ES fashion. So during that time, we get even. We will make even. So that time, we will make to appear self element style dot display. So firstly, okay, style dot display equal to, okay, subfolder element style dot display firstly is equal to known. We use here ternary operator. We use ternary operator question mark. Here, if the initial state is known, we give block. If not, we will get known again. So okay, we check. Yes, now we got it. But when we check here, when we click personal, it has folders. But when we click personal, it doesn't appear, it doesn't make the whole document to be minimized. But here, when we click personal, so it minimizes the whole documents folder, the whole documents root folder. So it is not what we want. So how we gonna do here? So we had to use even the propagation. So either stop propagation. So when we use this, so when we chat again, so when we chat again, finally we got it. So that's it. So I hope you guys understand, very simple. So the first step is we will create floater threshold array objects. Some floater thresholds, some floaters, it will have inner subfolders. So if we have inner subfolders, we will check if statement. So when we have inner subfolders, we will do callback fashion. We will do recursive fashion. We will call recursive fashion again. So but during that time, we will not call the whole floater threshold. We only call that floater inner subfolder. The subfolder is that folder, right? So the first time we will hide the subfolder element num, we will get a num value. Only when we click align element, this root folder, only when we click, it would be subfolders will be appear. So just like that. So we already finished for the whole program. So I think you guys really understand. So you can check the source code. I will give the source code in the description. So for this program, I will use it as minify to minimize the whole project. So right here, I will minimize all the whole program. So okay, so I will minify. So this is minify code. So we get head.min.js, right? So here we copy this and we paste it right here. So see you in the next tutorial.